Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of RLG Cast Reviews. Today we're reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm here with JohnnyDonuts and I'm here with the Puttyman. Their stuff will be in the description below. And if you would just like to help out this channel and drop a little subscribe for us, I would very much appreciate that. Give it a like, leave a comment.
There's a certain percentage of you that have not hit that subscribe button, but you watch the videos. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, do what he said.
Just do it.
And let me know in the comment what you thought of this movie. But we will give a spoiler-free, like very quick review, and then we'll talk about it a bit. But look for like very open topic in the next podcast episode. But here we go. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the continued adventures of the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, not 2, not to be confused with 2.
No.
Or 4,
No.
but 3.
There's no 4. I mean, there's a 2.5.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Kevin Bacon special.
Anyways,
exactly. So basically, this is the story of Rocket's origin, featuring
the Guardians,
other things. So, Putty, how did you feel?
It's funny. I really enjoyed this movie. It is a very emotional movie. But I've also learned by other means of other people that it's a long movie. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're really into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and love these movies, then I feel like you're going to be okay. If you're new to it, it's going to be a little bit of a long thing, but you're going to get the laughs, you're going to get the emotions. So it's still good for everyone. But I do feel that might be the one thing that might be a tip. But as far as like fun, emotion, like the characters, I felt a little bit closer to each one, though some things that I thought were going to be surprises weren't surprises, but I want to get into that later if you know what I mean. So
yeah. JD?
I thought it was better than the second one. I don't think the runtime really was all that bad. This was one of the shorter ones. It felt a little bit. It felt a little, I guess, because it flowed a little better.
I agree with that. Yeah,
it didn't feel as long, but it still was a long. It kind of got this. Marvel suffers from that third act. It seems like that still is something where they're suffering. Is in that third act they kind of go a little too long. There's a lot of stuff they could have taken out that could have taken away from maybe at least 10 minutes of the runtime.
Yeah. I will agree that it flows.
They spent 20 minutes with children and animals. Let's just put it that way.
It flows. That sounds a lot worse than he means it. It flows well, but I'm gonna kind of agree with Putty. The movie kept going. It just kept going, and every time they went somewhere, it didn't go anywhere. And that sounds very negative, more than I mean it probably, but it constantly felt like we were on a journey to somewhere, but we were just never getting anywhere. Like, do you know what I mean? We would go, we're going here to get to there, but then we get here and we didn't get there, and now we got to start all over again. And it kind of wore me down after a while of like, I didn't even...
it's like, where are they going with this? This is the longest of the three Guardians films.
Even in the end of it, like, morally and as characters, they have a resolve, but the story doesn't really make any sense. Like, and it doesn't make any sense in the terms that like, oh, this is a bad movie, but like, it's really building to nothing. You get to the end, and yes, the Guardians story as a group resolves. Their characters hit this peak of their arc, but the actual story of the movie was just like, big thing, bang bang, move on.
That's exactly where and this is the perspective. You guys know me. When I watch these Marvel movies, I have like the stars in my eyes. Okay. So I'm one of those people that just gets really into it, and it doesn't.
So you gave it a 10?
No, I didn't.
Wait, don't know scores.
Anyway, I'm not going to get scores. Don't worry about it. But as I kind of hinted to when we prior to the video, when you're with somebody else, you see another perspective, and it kind of opened my eyes as well, because I was taken out of the moment, and then I looked at it and I go, "Oh, I can understand that this is a little." Because if I didn't know what this part mean, like in different characters, we can get into that later or something like that, you would be a little lost in the situation, and so it brings that length down where you're not really invested.
This was by far the most you need to have watched every single Marvel movie even especially the Christmas special, to know, because they immediately tell you at the beginning of the movie, I'm his sister, and if you didn't see that, you'll have
Yeah,
no
you're like,
idea what the
"What?"
hell they're talking about. But there's a lot of that. There's a lot of callbacks. Like, even like, these are not spoilers. At some point, you see a card game, and it has the guy who owns the shop from the first Guardians
First
of the
movie.
Galaxy movie that they rob. And I think that nobody's gonna notice that, even people who watched the movie.
No, I noticed it, but
That's funny you say that too, because that was at a moment where I had someone asking me, "Who's that? Who's that?" So it was so fun. That was going to go. Well, that was in the original one. Oh, actually, and I actually got
What
excited to
movie
point out
theater are
another
you at
character.
where
Like,
you can talk and nobody cares?
it's well, the thing is we have people, but I guess they didn't care because it was again. We're going to talk about that later. It was just a moment, you know what I mean? So,
But yeah. Anyways, so overall, I enjoyed it. I do think this was a good movie. It's one of the upper tier Marvel movies. I
Yeah.
would hesitate to put it in the upper crust, like the special upper echelon of Marvel movies, but it definitely was worth my time. It was worth watching. The comedy was a little bit flat for me. There
yeah,
were a few moments where you did hear me laugh, but for a majority of it, the whole theater didn't even really laugh at a lot of the jokes. They just came out. And that's neither here nor there. I think the acting was really good. I think the writing for the characters is fantastic in this one. Fantastic. Visually,
yeah,
it's really strong. The action sequences are great. Really over reliant. As much as I liked a lot of the music, there's just too much music. It
yeah,
felt like it literally felt like Suicide Squad. You know how every 2 seconds there was a song on and it only played for like 2 seconds? That's how this felt. The first 30 minutes of this movie is just a loop of songs.
that's funny.
yeah.
That's funny.
But
Good
some,
songs.
I mean, and some of them really worked. Like No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Like there's ones where I was like, okay, I really enjoy this, but it was just too much. It's overdone. Putty, what would you score this?
Well, okay, I definitely gave this a nice score because I still did enjoy it. So yeah, I actually gave it an 8 because based on what we've had this last two phases, honestly, the only other thing that's been this good is No Way Home in my eyes. So I mean, it feels like since then this really gives it a nice bump for a good movie. I mean, the problem is I've given stuff 7s and 6s before, and I'm trying to be a little bit even, but comparing this to those, it deserves an 8 in my eyes.
Yeah, this is
If
a
I
lot
had,
better than most of the stuff that's come
yeah.
out.
So that would be my high number. 7.5 would be low, but I'm going to stick with 8 just because I feel like it deserves it, especially with the series and the emotions.
JD?
7-7.
7-7. Oh, that was pretty easy. You're used to throwing out wrestling scores, and I'm gonna give it not a score. I tricked both of you. I genuinely don't know what I'm gonna score it. It's definitely at lowest a high 7.
Yeah.
I really got to look at my list of Marvel movies and see
That's the
where I
problem I
would
have to.
rank it, which I haven't done yet. We've just walked out of the movie
Yeah.
theater, me and JD.
Literally like half an hour ago.
So I won't score it for now. I'll tell you it's definitely worth a watch. I think their scores both reflect basically what I'm going to be eventually.
They haven't, like, in some of the previous podcasts that we talked about, we were talking about how Marvel seems to have lost direction. This is a step moving back towards. I like the fact that you just needed to watch the Guardians and not anything else Marvel to understand what was going on in this movie.
I kind of disagree. I think you need to have seen a few things. But I do like maybe just the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
To really know the Gamora storyline, right?
I honestly don't know. I don't think she even saw anything like that. So I don't. I don't know. The situation is, again, you get a different perspective when people haven't had eyes on it. You know what I mean? And it's really a weird perspective because this movie does have a little bit of like weird, things that come at you. And if you aren't familiar with how the Guardians work in space, it's like, what the heck is this?
They definitely Star Wars better than Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll probably have a different perspective after I watch it again with Ange. So
okay, hold on. 3, 2, 1. We're talking spoilers now. If you don't want spoilers, leave.
Bye.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Like and subscribe. But generally, I did have a good time with this movie. I do think it was a little bit long, like I said, and there's this constant feeling of, and it's a weird movie to compare it to because I don't want to use this comparison, but like the Rise of Skywalker, where it kept feeling like, oh, we have to get this MacGuffin. We have to get this MacGuffin. We're going to get here. And yes, it was, you're getting somewhere in the storyline, but every time you reach the end of that like chapter, you still didn't resolve anything. You had to continuously keep going into a next one and going again and going again. Oh,
I call it
you're on the ship, but
it's
you're
what's
off
called
the ship.
the Return of the King conundrum, because the Return of the King was the movie that like conceptualized that, and every movie since then, it seems like, has had
That's
that
fair.
like
Return of the King also has 27 endings.
Well, this
the
is spoilers,
4-hour
right?
extended.
See, this is spoilers. So this is my feel on this movie. This movie feels like James Gunn was like, oh, wait a second. People expect something to happen here, so I'm going to make it different. And the reason I say that is because we had so many times where near fatal deaths happen. And you're thinking, okay, Drax is leaving. The actress plays or is leaving. Well, I could call it Drax. But anyway, Batista's leaving. Anyway, Dave Batista's leaving. And my point is, you think the deaths are going to happen. And
I thought that was it. I thought that scene where Drax got shot.
And they
I thought
should have.
That would have been a perfect ending for him. Died in battle.
In the middle of the movie, where now they have to live with this like baggage for the rest of the movie.
That's exactly right. It feels like what happened.
It would have carried more weight.
Like they had so many deaths, but then James Gunn saw online, like, oh man, this guy's gonna die. This guy's like, oh no, I'm gonna change this on you. I'm gonna throw you, and everyone actually lives. And you know what I mean? And
the thing is, I don't care about the subversion of the fact that we all went in thinking someone was gonna die and nobody died. The thing that bothers me is you literally had each one of them at some point die in the movie
and then
just to come back. That's what bothered me.
It's true though. Literally,
it was like you're doing this on purpose.
That's exactly
if you just had it in a
like
way
trolling.
where you had every scene be like, oh, in Hot Tub Time Machine, when they keep wondering, oh, is his arm gonna get cut off there? That's what I want. I want you to be like, oh, is he gonna die right there? Is this the moment? And then not happen. Not have him literally die, and then he doesn't die.
I thought at one point Quill was gonna die.
They all had a moment, right? Groot was just ahead at one point.
Yeah.
Like
I think that didn't have that was Mantis.
No, didn't Mantis almost die at one point?
No, I think she did too. What was it at though? I can't remember what
No, I don't think Mantis had that near death.
Wait. Oh yeah, Groot with his head. Okay.
Groot with the head.
Gamora was like completely disfigured. Like
Then you had
Drax get shot.
Rocket got shot. Rocket was dying.
Peter Quill suffocating in space.
Yeah, and then who's the other one? The
Gamora.
blue girl got shot.
Nebula
got shot at the same time when Dave Bautista does, and they made it seem like she was gonna die.
Oh, Nebula got messed up a lot of times. She got ripped apart. And
actually, when they throw them into like the pit, Mantis's head like snaps on the floor, but then she didn't.
Okay, she did get that arm broken.
Oh yeah,
so and also she almost got eaten by those creatures.
Yes, call back to the second Guardians film that they fought at the beginning of the movie.
Anyways, but I do think there's little things like that, like in the writing, that bother me. And in the podcast, I want to talk about something more to an extent, but I do think this is a well-made movie, and I'm starting to get to the point where I don't even like all of his movies, okay? But to be one of these people that's like, James Gunn is not good, or I don't understand how people like James Gunn. It's just kind of crazy to me. I'm not saying he's one of the best directors, but
he gets it.
He totally gets it, and he makes movies for the people that want these movies. Like, this is what we want and what we're getting. Peacemaker, Suicide Squad.
I do feel that Warlock was kind of shoehorned in.
Yes, but like I told you when we were watching it, I really liked the way that they turned him.
Yeah.
It made sense. His mom died. He came with anger. He got killed, basically. And then through their goodwill towards him, he realized that I'm not a bad person. I'm just doing what I was told, you know?
Yeah. He can be his own person now.
And I really like that new Guardians team. I said that too. That's a really nice team for me.
Which one? The one
at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
with Kraglin, Rocket.
Yeah.
And
Groot. You know who the little girl is? Like, it's not a quiz. I'm generally asking. We didn't know who she was.
By the way. Oh wait. Are you talking about the little girls? All the little kids?
Like, is she a Marvel character that we don't know about?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't.
Could you Google it? You're in front of a computer.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now.
But yeah, go. The only thing I can think of.
Well, anyway, Oh, yeah, the one thing is, I don't know if I mentioned it that way. Didn't I say something about Rocket taking over and becoming the leader too?
You did.
Like
You
I think,
actually nailed that.
yeah. And see,
But
the
I don't.
reason I
That was
felt,
one of the things where I don't think we even argued with you about that. That seemed
yeah.
plausible.
Well, it's easier to do because it's all voice acting. So
Actually, you
you
know what?
literally
I
can
think
keep
I
it
did.
going.
I believe I said that it would be Nebula. But
Oh yeah,
the way they broke off into those groups, this is my issue with this. Okay, and forget about further Marvel movies, whatever. Okay, but you set up this universe to be what it is, and this, that, the other thing. You're gonna get any one of these people back, but Zoe Saldana already said she doesn't want to come back, and
Dave
we know that
Bautista.
Dave Bautista is not coming back. So without the two of them, why did you put them into sections of the storyline where they would be necessary if you do bring these characters back?
Well,
'Cause
no, they won't be necessary.
she's a main Ravager. She's the main Ravager now, basically, and
Which means the Ravagers should never come back.
he's the
Then. That's
second
pretty much what's
hand
it.
of the city, that whatever that city's called.
Unless they're just saying this is my last, because well, how has the wording been by all of them? Like, are they saying this is my last Marvel movie or my last Guardians movie?
I don't know, because we do know that for sure that team we saw at the end is going to come back in a movie.
Well, no, I get that, but see, the thing is, like, what if
It could be
them alive
Nikki.
for like the
And
Who?
who's that? And more
Nikki
explanation.
is part of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. She was also a character. They kind of retconned her in the game. She was Peter Quill's daughter in the game.
really.
Yeah, so it could be Star Child.
So it wouldn't
Really?
be actually Peter Quill's daughter, but it
No,
would be
in
Star
actual
Child.
Marvel in Marvel canon, it's Nikki Gold, Nicolette Gold. She's a member of the Guardians. I'm guessing that might be her. Don't
Okay,
quote me on that.
but that
Internet,
would
if
make
I'm
sense.
wrong,
He's
you'll let me know.
right though. He's right because that does have a similar resemblance,
And it makes
too. You know what
sense.
I mean?
And she also would be powerful. And that
Yeah.
girl, they wouldn't have just kept that one girl unless
Yeah.
she obviously had.
She's a Marvel producer's daughter or something.
Well, we know that for a fact. That's someone's daughter.
But
was-
I know in
that's
the
a
game,
shoehorn
if you
job.
guys haven't played that Guardians of the Galaxy game, go play it. It's fantastic.
I will eventually. You should know by now I'm not good with games, especially now that Diablo's coming out. I'm never going to play anything again. But I mean, overall, I had a good time. I know I keep saying that, but I just did. And you know what? Good for James Gunn. We were talking about this too. I think they have so much faith in him. This is the first time in a long time that I've watched a Marvel movie and I felt the directors stank all over it. Like, yes, Thor Love and Thunder has Taika Waititi within it. And yes, the Sam Raimi visuals were in Doctor Strange, but it never felt like either one of them had control of those movies.
So let me ask you this then, because I kind of feel this way, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Even though they're not, the three movies are not the best as far as trilogies in the MCU, I kind of think this is the
Guardians
best trilogy.
is one of the best Marvel movies.
Yeah. If not Spider-Man, then this. But I don't know if you count Spider-Man or not. You know what I mean?
For trilogies?
Yeah.
I'm
thinking.
I
MCU.
would say that this. I don't know. See, this is where it's difficult for me because I would say
those are the only two trilogies, really.
Far From Home is better than all three of these movies from Guardians, but I would say Homecoming is worse than all three of these movies. So,
but it still kind of fits because I feel like the second
it would be pretty
Guardians.
close. No, the best trilogy is probably Captain America.
Really?
That has four now, technically.
Well, Civil War and
but you guys
Winter Soldier are both in my top 5.
Yeah, but there's going to be
the first movie.
Yeah, but the other two are in my top 5.
Now, do you count New World Order as a new Captain America series?
Yeah, it's a new line in a whole new line of questioning.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
I don't know. That's
just when you think you got all the answers, I change the questions.
Yeah, exactly. No,
but see, that's hard because Civil War really is like more of like an Avengers movie too. That's the sucky part. So yeah, I kind of agree on you on that too.
They're both better than Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those trilogies are better.
It's funny how Iron Man started the MCU, but his movies aren't actually the best. Like his first one's good, but
the first one is top 5.
Yeah, exactly. But it's weird how his trilogies aren't as good as some of the other ones later down the road. But
I mean, it is what it is, right? Like you had potential with Black Panther to be a trilogy that would have been really good had Chadwick Boseman not passed away, because that second movie was not anything special. Is there any other trilogies other than those 3 or 4?
Well, no, there's Thor.
No, Thor's a trilogy. Thor's 4, buddy.
Thor.
Well, no,
4. I know. Well,
we can't count it once they have.
That's
4
not a
movies,
trilogy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So then,
Doctor Strange is only 2.
right.
Ant-Man is 3. Ant-Man
Iron
is
Man.
3.
Ant-Man's 3, but Ant-Man, no. Ooh, Ant-Man, I'm sorry. Ant-Man, I don't feel like
Yeah,
it's even
Ant-Man's not going to
close.
be up there.
No.
Yeah, this is a good question. This is a good part of video. Maybe we should bring this up to the other.
Ant-Man now has officially has the worst movie in the MCU for me.
That's so
I
weird.
have officially
Even worse
now
than Thor:
willing
Dark
to
World.
admit that it was worse than Captain America. Yeah, I think Captain America was worse than Thor: Dark World.
Oh, I don't agree on that.
I
but
think
okay.
Thor: Dark World is just a movie that people don't like because it's not what they wanted.
It's misunderstood.
Is it a great Marvel movie? No, it's in the bottom 100%.
Yeah.
But it's more hated
Not the
than it
worst.
should be because people got a Middle Earth type movie and they wanted a Marvel movie.
No, I get that. But again, my scenario is it does.
Both Thors are in my bottom 5.
Yeah. Anyway, the first Thor. The thing is, I never really liked the first Thor. Like,
Okay, are we bottom 5ing? It's Ant-Man, the new Ant-Man, Captain America, the first one.
I don't see. That's the one I can't agree on. But whatever.
Thor: Dark World. No, sorry,
I'll
Captain America, Iron Man 2,
I'll
Thor:
take Iron Man
Dark
2.
World, and Thor.
That would take.
Those are that's my bottom 5.
But I like Iron Man 2 just because of I want my board.
Yeah, and I like it because Sam Rockwell's in it, but I'm not going to pretend it's good. I remember watching that. I took my cousin to watch Alex, and
I just realized Putty's drinking water.
yeah, hey, Putty's on a track. You go watch his video if you didn't see it. Putty's making commitments.
Yes.
Good for
But,
you, Putty. We're proud.
But yeah, I remember just being like, yeah, this movie's wicked, back in black, and all these suits are flying around. We were like, yeah, Iron Man.
I will say I do like the subtle hint when the last battle with Rocket and he turns on. When was it? Not the last battle, but the last song that's played at the end of the battle is the song that Quill plays in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
Did you guys
they
that?
bookended it.
Yeah, I love that.
Come and get your love.
This is the best ever closure period, I think, in a superhero movie.
If none of these characters return, I'm happy with the way things turned out.
And it was everything you wanted to happen in the end of a movie. You were like, wow, this is
everything got resolved.
So okay, here, I'll give you this because this is what I want to talk about. I forgot before we cut this off. Everyone kept telling me, oh, it's emotional. Yes, I understand the scenes that were emotional. I understand, but I did not cry or anything. And I don't feel like it's because they're bad. I just feel like there was an over attempt to constantly have these emotional moments in unnecessary times of the movie just to pull at your heartstrings, and they don't work. A lot of them just didn't work. The time for me, literally, I'm telling you this is the funniest thing. For me, when the emotions happened was when Dog Days started playing and and Groot's like all dancing in them. That one, and when Rocket's like, I'm going back to get the kids, and then Groot turns around and starts walking with him, not anyone else. Just when I saw Groot do that, I was like, he's the most loyal fuck that's ever lived. He didn't even question it. He immediately saw Rocket walk and immediately said, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And those were the only 2 times for me when I was like, okay, this is like, he's nailing this. The other times are just too much. Like the Gamora shit, I didn't care.
I didn't care either, but the comedic timing worked a little better in this than it did with Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, you don't.
Sure.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. I know they explain in the movie, but for a long time they don't. The whole thing with Gamora and why am I forgetting her name now? You made me forget
Nebula?
her sister's name. Yeah, Nebula. That whole relationship with Quill. When someone has never seen this movie before and you have to explain that, and then it's like explain what, and then I had to bring in Thanos, and then that just like opened up the thing, and she's like, "Who's Thanos?" I'm like, "Oh God, this is so hard." Like,
I mean,
so this is the one problem with the movie is if you are not seeing the MCU movie, you have to be understandable about it.
I wanted the movie to end with him committing to Nebula. Because you could see throughout the movie there's all these moments, and I don't know if they were intentional, but they're like perfect for each other.
Yeah.
And even more than him and Gamora were. And Gamora even also hints that they should be together.
Yeah.
And there's that moment with your eyes are so black. And it's just like, it's so strange to me that the movie was like, oh, I'm going to go see my grandfather and I'm never going to see you again. I was like, okay, I guess.
But even though
Yeah,
at the end it says Star-Lord will return.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think Star-Lord, because you see what it said. What would it say? The legendary
Star-Lord?
He's going to
Star-Lord.
get his own movie called The Legendary Star-Lord or something. Because
I can see it.
I guarantee Guardians is going to go in their own direction now. It's going to be called Rocket and the Guardians or something like that.
Well, it
Yeah.
probably
And
just I have a feeling it's probably gonna be something like they're gonna
it's going to be a
like
show, probably.
well either show actually show it probably perfectly, but I even think where they're doing movies, I really feel they're gonna go into something more of like now it's a chapter, you know what I mean? And it's gonna like chapter one, like Guardians of the Galaxy, the Rocket and Groot chapter one, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's the intentions they would do because they know Rocket and Groot are the you know what I mean, the polarizing thing, and so they can bring in these other characters that could be used in the group that they've got now, you know what I mean, and then expand that
They
story.
can always
more into the
take
stars.
it from the comic title too, Rocket and Groot Adventures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yep, it's perfect. Exactly. Yep.
Well, Rocket and Groot Adventures, I think that's all we're going to talk about today.
And
If
that
you
could
want
work as
more of
volume
this,
one.
yeah, if you want more of this, come for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 4 in our podcast that's coming up in a couple days. And
Bye.
we will see you there. Peace out.